Okay. Right, let's just jump right into it then.
The picture.
Last we left off, Wayward Wanderers were continuing their expedition into the Asamal Woods in hopes of delivering a message to Adrielis. Deeper and deeper into the woods they have dove. Their three-legged companion Jake has mysteriously disappeared. Whether he was snapped up by another creature without the group's notice, or if he just got homesick and left, is unknown to the group. The group also managed to stumble upon a colony of giant spiders, and through some deft charisma checks managed to come out not only unscathed, but without any fight at all. Dipping across the river, they made their way to the top of a hill and found themselves surrounded by fey flora. Setting up camp for the night, they tried to set their camp ablaze, only for it to be blown out the moment they turned around. There was a fey around. A pixie was buzzing around the camp, messing with the group. As the group finally decided to turn in for the night, Anxie caught a glimpse of the pixie and had a telepathic conversation with it. A small kinship was formed. Though the pixie pooped in her hood and lied about how much he knew, plenty of interesting and new things were still learned. Come daybreak, however, the group tried to leave the area and somehow got turned around. The pixie found this utterly hilarious, laughing at the group's face for hours about how they were incapable of walking in straight lines. Eventually, after getting fed up of the cacophony of laughter, the group charged southward, desperate to rid themselves of this maniacal pixie. Reaching the tree line and wading through the river, they have finally escaped that hysterical nightmare. Wayward Wanderers, I must remind you, every action has a consequence. You've still only had a minor taste of what the Asamal holds within it. Stay resolute and do your best to ensure you reach Adrielis on time. So, Wayward Wanderers, what would you like to do?
Well,
Okay.
we have a bit of time.
So,
There's a
there's
point
that-
of interest right there.
I was going to say, do we want to check that out?
let's get some time stuff out the way first. So how many days until the Lord's meeting?
7.
7
and
days.
currently it's 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock, okay. 27-hour day. Should be, I hope, plenty of time to make it to the plateau, the Eversplendor, and the Nadzaratelli. So, there is a point of interest to the southwest of you. Is that where you want to go?
We want to check it out and make sure it's not fey before we go there.
The flora around you is flora, fuck me, I get them mixed up so much. The flora around you is definitely nowhere near of a fey nature anymore. Whatever it was seems like it was confined to that area, not necessarily to the entirety of that side of the river, but that area around where the pixie was is the only time that you had seen such flora. Around you now, you just see nice simple trees. To the south of you, there doesn't seem to be any trees. In fact, the hex is bereft of any at all, though it is slightly hilly in areas.
Just before we head any further, did you want to send a bird to the druids and ask and say, like, we're on our way? If you can help us get there in any way, we'd appreciate it. Just like we kind of tried to do in the last text, but got stopped by the tentacle thing.
Yeah, I can do. I think I've still got the bird, right?
Yeah, because you called it down, and it was like it was the morning when you did that. So sure, you can still have that bird sort of like on your shoulder. Looks a
Okay.
little distressed after what happened, but it's there.
Let's move to that point of interest, and then I'll work out the message while we're doing that.
Okay. So, moving down. Say 1 hour move. You come into an area with little to no trees. It's a flatland in the middle of the forest. Well, flatland with some hills, of course. But these rolling greeneries seem different to like all the surrounding tiles and everything where you've been so far in the forest. Someone roll me a d20. 7. Andros. Whilst you don't necessarily see any directly close to you for the time being, you notice that there's a bunch of flying creatures sort of like permeating this area, and there's quite a few of them on one of the hills before you. You're unsure if this is like new territory, whether this is the edge of their territory or not. But then as you take a closer look, they've got wings, but they're not flying. They're like floating.
I do a history check to see if I know what they are.
You can, and Baylor can as well.
If you want to use insight on yourself, baby.
History, but okay.
Only them?
You can roll one if you want as well, Platt.
Can I
Yes.
guidance that as well?
Yeah, sure. It's a conscious check.
What is it with these rows?
Just
So-
getting the bad ones out the way for the day.
Very middling rolls. As you're looking over at these creatures, not necessarily in the distance, but like just a bit of a ways ahead of you, they all seem to be rather odd colors. Like colors you wouldn't usually expect to see on creatures. You don't know of any creatures with wings that don't use those wings. And the somewhat odd situation and the circumstances lead you to believe that these may be some kind of Fey-ish or Fey-adjacent beings.
A look of terror runs across Andros's face, and it's like, guys, we need to leave now.
Let's get out of here.
A couple of them start flying towards you. Well, flying. They're like weirdly like bobbing up and down, floating.
How close?
They start to get pretty close, unless you guys are literally going to turn and sprint in the other direction. They're just like
they're not
gently
invisible.
floating towards you.
How many are heading towards us?
3.
Okay, we'll see what they do. I mean, they're not invisible, so worst case is we just kill them.
One of them's orangey, one's pinkish, and one seems to be some kind of mix of like purple and green. As they come into closer view, Baylor, you eventually recognize them after having been taught them, though you couldn't tell what they were at a distance. These are fairy dragons. They are somewhat dragon kin, but after having spent a good amount of time in the Fae, they've somewhat evolved so that they imitate other creatures in the sense that like they've got wings, but like they innately float. And the wings are more or less there just for decoration. Maybe some minor magic can be done with them. These are, you recognize and like understand to be pretty passive and harmless creatures.
I'll share my knowledge with the group. Little knowledge I have.
If they're related to dragons, did we want what's the dragon's name again?
Sizzle.
Sizzle. Do we want Sizzle to talk to him?
Sizzle is a pseudo dragon, which is different.
Closer to dragons than we are.
True. You want to you want to prompt Sid with that?
Sid, do you want to talk to him, or do you want to see if Sizzle wants to talk to him?
Oh, fuck, I've got to do Sid's thing. Yeah. Dragons, they're probably Sizzle's friends. Come say hello. And Sizzle sort of like crawls out of his arm, out of Sid's clothes, and takes a peek over at the fairy dragons floating towards you. That's a hard pass for me. These guys are just kind of weird. Sizzle says into your mind, Andros. Eventually, the fairy dragons are right before you. They seem to be like slowly bobbing up and down as they sort of float there. Their wings, now that you look at them, they're definitely not even like wings. They're just sort of like appendages. They've got no feathers, they've got no scales. The fairy dragons in shape sort of like look similar to like chameleons, but then their wings look like just some kind of like weird webbing with like a very sort of like a, you know, like acid wash sort of like a pattern to them. And you notice that their eyes are sort of like a milky white, where it looks like everything's sort of like glossed over, but you can see just like it looks like there's some kind of like liquid spinning under it or something. And they sort of just like stay there, floating in front of you, sort of like absently like looking in your direction. Who's at the front of the group and closest to them?
It would probably be me if I'm leading the group, right?
Mm-hmm. Baylor, one of the fairy dragons comes a bit closer to you. You don't remember much about what you were taught about fairy dragons. You were taught so much about so many of these different creatures. Everything that you remember about these is that they're just harmless and, like any other fae, odd in some kind of way. And as this fairy dragon looks at you, it sort of like tilts its head to the side a bit, like it's examining you somewhat. Then it slowly opens its mouth. And eventually, ting, its little tongue shoots out and shoots like 5 feet towards you and just like plops on your nose. Like a slack piece of string, like connecting your nose to its mouth, its tongue is just like attached to your nose now. It's keeping eye contact with you this whole time.
I don't think Beetle's going to be too bothered by what it's done with its tongue. And just... Hello?
Its tongue starts to slowly move on your face, making its way over to your cheek, and then down towards your mouth. And then it starts to creep up your nostril.
At this,
This is starting to make me feel uncomfortable.
I'm going to take a step back and just put up my hand in front of my face.
As soon as you
hello?
do, its tongue instantly detaches and like retracting a measuring tape, it sort of like flails about as it rapidly flings back into the fairy dragon's mouth.
With my hand still in front of my face. Can you speak?
Tilts its head and just emptily stares at you again.
It's Fae, it's not an animal, so I can't speak with it.
If you can grab one and stick it underwater, I can speak to it.
I don't know if I want to be that aggressive, and I don't know
I have
if
a
I'm
spell
walking
that
around
lets me talk to things, but
Me
I
too.
probably don't.
Let me
Don't
see.
have that prepared since I'm not played.
I'd say
Do I
you
see-
would have gotten it prepared, you know, with everyone with everything that was going on.
She has tongues?
She does have tongues.
Okay.
Zinni, do you want to cast tongues?
Sure. Tongue. Lol.
So, Zinni casts tongues.
Mm.
This spell grants the creature you touch the ability to understand any spoken or signed language that it hears or sees. So you reach out and you gently touch the fairy dragon. It's a weird texture. It's like sort of like it had like a smooth glossy feature to it, and as you touch it you realize it's somewhat like a little slimy in that it's like covered in some kind of like thin, oily liquid all over it. But this creature can now understand anything it hears and sees.
What do you guys want me to say?
I think anyone could talk to it as well. But I guess ask, what do they want? Why are they sticking their tongues at Baylor's nose?
So what are you asking, Zinni?
Why are you tonguing Baylor's face and nostrils?
I just say hello.
It's a very odd way to say hello.
You look very odd.
Speak for yourself.
Who are you?
We are the Wayward Wanderers. We're adventurers. Are we heading? I assume we're going in the forest to meet up with the druids, right?
Yeah.
We're making our way to the druids.
Friends of Faustina?
Yes.
Oh. We are friends of Faustina.
Can
Not
you help us?
seen in many moons.
Oh. I see. Is there anything else you guys want me to say to the dragon? Or do you guys want to talk to it? You can talk to it, I guess.
It would be nice if they could perhaps give us advice on getting to the Eversplendor.
Go north. Follow river. But help you must.
Help?
We here scout, weary of spider.
You're talking like Svart right now.
Too fucking true.
Wary of spider.
Yes, so in the last session, towards the northeast was where the giant spiders were, which is an area where you basically just came from.
You ask like if they know are the spiders supposed to be there, or are they doing something they shouldn't?
Spiders expand, take our home. Now, home smaller.
So you want us to get rid of the spiders?
Would you help if invade?
If invade, what does that mean?
Spider invade. You help? Friend of Faustina?
I think this is like the third reason for us to go and like kill that big spider.
But wasn't the plan to tell the druids and they can deal with it? Because we are kind of in their territory.
It's a spider. We're good at killing spiders.
But they're part of this forest and we're not.
Yeah, but if they're doing something they shouldn't be, and and all the other creatures are asking us to help with it.
Can I use tongues on the spider and ask the spider to do one very politely?
The spider can talk
We
without
spoke with
tongues,
it.
and
Yeah.
it's a giant spider, surrounded by lots and lots of, I wouldn't say small, but smaller spiders.
Did you try and speak to it?
It spoke to you
Yeah.
guys.
What did it say?
Told
That
us to
we
get
were in
out.
danger. Yeah.
Basically, get off my lawn.
It basically
literally
was.
said-
Oh,
Hey,
Zinni
wasn't-
wants to fucking squish this fucking spider then, stupid little prick. Who does he think he is?
It was a huge one, wasn't it?
Yeah, Dex, we didn't see the spider, right?
You saw its shadow from underneath the canopy of spider webs.
How big is it in comparison to the spider we already fought in the tunnels?
A size bigger than that. And the way that it was talking, with a sense of self-importance and its size, and what you know about what was mentioned previously by Nazaratelli when you spoke to, I believe it was Iapetus just outside Edgewood, that is likely the matriarch and the mother of the spider you killed in the tunnel.
So we could just walk up to it, bait it into attacking us first, and then we're acting in self-defense.
It's too many jokes to be made
Actually,
there.
would that spider not have seen her son's leg on Scup's weapon?
I mean,
That's
Yeah.
that's got to encourage it to fight us, surely.
yeah, also the only reason we actually passed by there was because I cast a spell on it to let us pass. She didn't want to let us.
Well, I mean, she wanted us to go out the exact way we came, but we wanted to go a better route
Yeah.
at the same time.
Zinni's the biggest gnome from the north. I don't know if you know this, but a big ass spider does not scare Zinni.
Maybe asking Baylor and the Fade Dragon, like, how would the druids deal with a spider going outside his territory? Would they deal with it in the way we want to, or would they use other means? Like, how pissed off are the druids going to be if we kill it?
Can roll a history check on that if you want, Bill, and I can explain.
Alright, let's do that.
You know from your time with the Nazaratelli that the culling of creatures within the forest is seldom, if ever, done. A lot of what the Nazaratelli deal with is maintaining peace within the forest. Given some animals and creatures' intrinsic nature, it does often mean that there is sometimes feuds or wars or some kind of territorial disputes that occasionally happen, and this is basically the bread and butter of what the Nazaratelli deal with.
So, if we were to go in and fight in this war, that's just nature.
I would say if we go in there and kill the spider, that Valmoira would probably kill us all. And Valmoira would be very capable of killing us all. My suggestion is I'll find another bird and send a message to Valmoira about the spiders.
Can you send like an express bird and ask if we can kill the spider? 'Cause, I mean, He's probably eaten Jake.
Well, we've met Valmoira, right?
Yes.
Anxie knows Valmoira. Valmoira doesn't spend her whole day in the Everspender. She patrols. So a sending message might work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if we can ask
okay.
permission before we kill it, then that'll work.
But why do we even have to kill it? We're trying to get there as soon as possible. This would take us some time. Also,
Yeah.
just telling Valmoira she can deal with this shit. It's literally her job.
Yes.
So let's
That's what I'm
not.
thinking.
Yeah, let's try to basically try and communicate with her, and then relay what's happening, and she can decide what to do. Basically.
I think so. That's my thoughts is let's just bring this to Valmoira's attention.
Yeah.
Um,
Just be aware, Jake's probably inside a cocoon at the moment, like crying. It's like we left him and abandoned him.
Jake's been there for like at least 2 days now, which is at least 54 hours, which means it's probably a goner. Sorry to break that to you. And in order to go back there, it will take us some time.
as long as Flicker's okay,
Yeah.
that's what's important, right?
Like, I get
Well,
that.
see, this other fake creature here told me that they took Flicker as well.
Mm. I understand that you might really want to go fight something, but at the same time, we want to be friends with the druid.
It's more just it feels like kind of bad, just to like, yeah, oh yeah, we're gonna help you, Jake, and then just like, oh, spiders might have got him. Oh well.
We can't do much about it, can we? We could have been better
we
at keeping him
but,
safe.
you know.
Actions
Like-
have consequences, and our actions weren't to take care of Jake, and those were the consequences, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, and also we need to keep in mind what's in stake and
Actually, that's fine.
how far away we are.
And you sending to talk to Jake and see if he's okay, like if he did just leave or what happened.
It wouldn't work because I don't speak dog, do I?
Oh, true.
But- You can have tongues cast on you, can't you?
But he's an animal. Like, I wouldn't be able to speak his language. Tongues is not for animals. Is it? I don't think so.
Any creature that you touch can understand. So you'd be able to. I think dogs don't really talk, right? So, like, when you cast Speak with Animals, you sort of like get the ability to sort of like understand what it's like saying and stuff. But I don't think a combination of tongues and sending would work to make some dog potentially miles and miles away understand you and be able to respond.
I was thinking more like he doesn't understand Anxie, but he recognizes the voice and might respond. So obviously a dog would recognize their own, someone they know's voice.
I can respond in barks if you want.
I mean, that would tell us if he's alive.
You know, Andres, you should have made him sign your little notebook and you could have done that with him. Like, I'm not really interested in doing that right now, and I'm trying to figure out what to tell Valmoira.
Okay, I'll leave it then, but just tell Varro to come and deal with the bloody spiders. What I deal with them.
Which creature we met that had issues with the spiders, except for the Fey dragons?
The carbuncles.
Carbuncles. Okay.
So, Axie, have you made up your mind of what you are going to be sending to Valmoira?
You know, it's a lot to relay in 25 words. I'm thinking.
You can think out loud. I'm sure the group can help.
Well, it would be worth like mentioning that we are coming to meet Realis, right? Because why are we in the forest? Or do they know we are meeting them? Baylor.
I believe they do know because
Adriela's called you back, right?
Yeah, Adriela's called me back, so the other druids would know that I'm on my way back.
Okay, so that saves me 10 words. So I was thinking something of like, hello Velmoira. The spiders are invading the carbuncles and the fey dragons. And these creatures need some help. What would you like us to do? I suppose? Anything else, guys? Anything better to say? I don't know.
It might be worth mentioning that it's the spider matriarch.
So the spider matriarch. Okay,
We think-
but apart from that, anything else?
They also have Jake.
I think that's okay like that.
Okay, so I'm casting Sending on Velmoira, and what she hears in her mind is, hello Velmoira, the spider matriarch is invading the carbuncles and the fey dragons. These creatures need saving. Would you like us to do anything? That's all.
So you cast Sending, and
And it doesn't reach her.
you feel the magic leave you. Previously, when you've tried to cast Sending to creatures that are inside the Asimil Woods, you've met with a sort of staticky sound that resembles rustling leaves. However, maybe because circumstances are slightly different, you feel that your Sending reaches your desired target. And you hear a sort of like growl and a snark before. Changeling, so nice to hear from you. I'm 2 days out, east of the plateau. Be down when I can.
Okay, I relay this information to the rest. So it seems like she will deal with this problem. Maybe we're good to go.
I feel we can leave it in Valmoira's hands. She's very capable of dealing with this kind of thing.
Okay, just make sure to relay that to the Fey Dragon as well, so they know.
Also, Dax, I put in my notes, I've put the message I'm sending to Faustina.
And that's in the animal messenger, right?
Yeah.
Just left fairy. Can you insist this again? They're quicker. Please consider about time. So it would
I can
take.
cast Sending.
Yeah, you can do Sending if you want. Because I was about to say before you use that, Baylor, is that animal messenger obviously has like a physical travel time, and then whoever's sending you an animal messenger back has to designate a location.
Yeah. I realize this. I'm not expecting that they will be able to get us there any quicker, given that we still have time. I'm just adding that just in case. And I'm not really expecting a reply, per se.
Okay. But
It's more a notification that we're on the way.
sure. Off the bird flutters in a north-northwesterly direction, carrying with it your message.
Follow the bird!
The fairy
Wow,
dragon
wow,
still
that is
bobbing and floating around you.
Did we tell them about the response?
Not yet. How long does tongues last? So can they still understand us?
Look.
It's 1 hour.
There we go.
Okay. So I'll turn to the dragon that's been speaking to us, and we've sent a message to Valmoira, and she will be here in 2 days to assist with the spiders.
Valmoira. Scary. Scarier than Spider. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And they sort of like tilt forward for a bit as if they're like bowing in midair.
I'll do a little bow before I turn around and should we move on?
Just before we move on, I take out my book and I send a sending to the innkeeper again, just saying, hey, it's Andros, all good?
Oh, hey, you again. Wow. No less creepy than the first time. Yeah, everything's really chill. Gwen's a lovely lady, been helping out. Yep. All good. Yeah, no, it was Andros again. Uh-huh. And then it cuts off.
Cool. Yeah, let's go then.
All right.
Alright. This one here?
Or did we want to go back to the tile we were already on? Just it's only a one tree and then go north.
With Baylor leading the group, they are both 1 hour tiles.
Okay, never mind.
So,
Go to that one then.
minus 1 hour.
I think we should just move on to the next one.
I think so too.
Moving into the text,
Well,
you
you could go
notice that
north
the
and-
population of the fairy dragons is a bit more dense around here than it was out where you saw the self-determined scouts.
Alright, so
We're
this
gonna
is
head
where
to-
they're camping.
Probably their territory or something we're in now.
Yeah. And then they're scouting there for the spiders. Right, got it. Okay. Yeah, I do think this one here. We'll follow
Yeah, I
the
think we
river.
want to try and follow the river as much as we can. Yeah.
Was that northeast or northwest?
Northeast.
It's minus 1 hour again.
Are we
If-
crossing the river?
If we cross the river, that's 2 hours. If we just go west, that's 1 hour.
Yeah, let's stay this side of the
Um,
river unless there's something interesting, I think.
I have a question. If we use polymorph and instead of crossing it like we were gonna, basically we fly above it, would it still cost us 2 hours?
No, it would only be 1 hour, but it would cost the spell slots. So,
We can fly over it.
Yeah.
I'd rather keep the spell slot just in case.
Okay.
still, like, it's almost midday, right? Still don't know what's going to come up just yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So go west.
Yeah, we want to follow the river.
Minus another
Is it an hour?
Yep.
Are we able to tell if that point of interest is just like where the Fey dragons live, basically, from where we are?
From where you are currently, those of you that want to roll a just perception check.
Just him?
Anyone who wants to. Some good checks.
Oh, not 20.
You've been navigating through fairy dragon territory for a bit. You notice that in this hex, The density seems to be a bit lower, and that you are likely on the edge of their territory. And that any directions, west or northwest, will be new territory, likely occupied by a different creature.
Okay, so it probably is worth checking up then.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so to the point of interest?
To the point of interest.
This
How many
is
hour?
2 hours for that, because it's a hill and 2 trees. As you come into this territory, you notice a considerably larger density of very, very small creatures. We're talking like tiny little, like forest floor creatures, little mouse or mice running here and there. Like there's quite a few more like very small little birds. No big birds that you notice, but it's all sort of like small animals. And then you come into an opening of sorts, where there's some sort of a rocky outcropping. And you notice some creatures sat and lying atop this rocky outcropping. They seem to be some kind of giant beetles. Someone roll a perception check to see if you can get a better idea and look of them. Did you roll new checks? I don't actually know if you did yet.
Might be better if Bale or Anderson do better rolls than me today.
Okay. That's a natural one, Baylor. I'm not going to give you anything for that, unfortunately. But as you look at these creatures, they seem to be... You can't discern anything more about them. But they look to be somewhat like kicking it back and taking it easy. Some of them are just sort of like lying there with their legs splayed out. There's a few others that are turned on their back with their like 6 legs pointing at the sun, and they're just taking in the sun.
How big did you say they are?
Pretty fucking big. Let me... I mean, like 10 feet long. You also, as you get a bit closer, start to hear some kind of mumbles of conversation. Which is odd. It sounds like an actual conversation happening, not just like some weird animal mumblings. Like a genuine, real conversation is happening on that rocky outcropping.
And in common.
Yes. Ayla, would you like to roll a history check to try and recall what these creatures are?
Yes, and I will guidance for that.
Mm-hmm. +12 +2 for a 14. The combination of giant beetle, conversation in common, and an abundance of small creatures leads you to believe that these undoubtedly are species of creatures called arathas. Or more commonly known in layman's terms as killer beetles.
Uh-oh. Can I perceive what they're saying? Would you let me try and roll for it?
Sure, go for it. It's a good perception check. As you hush your group and you try to lend your ear to what's being said on this rocky outcropping, you hear some rather intense discussion happening. And as some of the words start to kick in, what you hear is, "No, I simply cannot allow you to bear such a pig-headed opinion. It's simply uncouth and factually just not even relevant."
Is one of them named Dax and one of them named Dave?
The other Dave, yeah, I was gonna make the same joke. I was gonna say, oh guys, it's Dax basically arguing with Dave again.
Oh no.
So I will quietly tell the group, guys, these are killer beetles.
What are they killing?
So, I will read you the excerpt that you were taught, Baylor, as you've recalled it pretty well. They were called killer beetles by many because of their very aggressive nature and would tirelessly hunt down their prey by scent and thought, both. They were often fond of feeding on owlbears and halflings. While they hunted their prey
Looking for
ruthlessly,
leader.
they were actually quite polite and sociable with creatures they weren't attempting to eat, and were particularly kind to small animals.
I think they're gonna. And I shut up. I was gonna say that they're gonna love Zinni, but then I realized she's the largest gnome, and I don't
She is
wanna
the
upset her.
largest gnome. Halflings are considerably shorter than gnomes. Well, considerably on a scale compared to like some of you guys, but like
Yeah, but
a good bit shorter.
you said that they love small creatures, so they would have loved her.
And should we approach and say hello?
If they hunt by scent, they probably already know we're here.
Yeah, I was thinking the
So
same.
it's probably better to find out if they're hostile or not before we leave and they hunt us down like asleep or something.
Good point.
It's better fight during the day.
So are you approaching the group of Arathas?
Yeah. And not sneakily.
As you do, the conversation becomes a lot more apparent to all of you, and it persists along the lines of one of the Arathas insisting that another Aratha's opinion is flat out stupid and nowhere near well thought through. As you come closer and closer, you watch as one of these Arathas sort of like, that was on its back, curls upwards and sort of like turns over, and it stands on its legs and looks down at you. "Ah, you down there!
Hello.
Come here, I must have you settle this debate."
Sure. Well, let's go, guys.
Yeah, that's good.
What's happening, guys? What are you arguing about?
Well, I was here, resting, enjoying the magnificent sun after a scrumptious meal earlier today, when one of my compatriots came out with the most outlandish question and absurd answer that I've ever heard, and I must simply know your opinion so that I can be sure in myself that I have not gone insane.
Oh my.
As you come closer to these creatures, they've got an incredibly hard carapace with like a brownish purple hue. They seem to have some kind of tendrils coming out towards their head, and they've got a cluster of eyes around where you would normally expect to see on a beetle. But they've also got an eye slap bang in the middle of their back and slap bang in the middle of their tummy. Although these are closed for those that are sunbathing at the moment. "Refutus, tell them of your question." And one of the other Aratha, who's currently laid on his back, like sort of like stretching out. "Well, if you must get these plebeians involved, I will oblige. Humani, whatever you are, here is my question I pose. If you simply were absolutely famished, and there was no other food source around, which of these would you prefer to eat? A goblin or a hobgoblin?" And you watch as the Arathi you originally spoke to is already starting to look like he's getting pissed off for the question being mentioned again.
I don't think it's a good time to tell them I don't eat meat.
I think it would depend on less on like, the choice between the two and more how it's prepared.
An interesting dynamic, to be sure, but I still feel that there is clearly only one answer that can be even remotely reasonable.
Which is?
I am here to hear out your opinions first to ensure me of my own validity. Please, enlighten me.
Once he says that, I'll use my subtle spell. I won't even use that because Detect Thoughts is basically one of my psionic spells. I'll cast Detect Thoughts without verbal components and anything, and try and see what's his opinion on it.
Okay.
Without probing deeper, if I can.
So, as you do, you pick up the surface thoughts of this Aratha, the one that originally called out to you. He's incredibly frustrated in his head, and he is doing well to keep a lot of this under wraps. And he's sort of like repeating to himself as a mantra over and over again, utter poppycock, balderdash, absolute absurdity, that anyone would dare think about eating some wretched goblin. They're such foul, disgusting creatures that barely care for their own hygiene, let alone their bodies.
I smile at him and say, I just can't imagine anyone willing to eat a goblin. They're just so smelly, aren't they?
My thoughts exactly, young lady. Refute us. Yet another witness has come forward to tell you that your opinion is absolute balderdash, and I put that to you and hope that you reflect on this before you ever consider mentioning such a heinous remark again. All I am saying is that the goblins are quite clearly smaller, quite clearly easier to hunt down, and they will be much tender meat, whereas a hobgoblin is filled with a lot more muscle and will be tenser and more difficult to meet. And really, how different can a filth be between a goblin and a hobgoblin? Absolute ridiculousness! They are miles apart. A hobgoblin at least cleans itself, a goblin does naught but squat in the mud and ground. This starts to like keep carrying on.
I feel like we might have to leave, guys.
You look
I think so.
you look around and a lot of the other Arathas are sort of like keeping their eyes closed, but are like their eyes are like twitching as if they're like annoyed that this conversation's getting even louder.
Okay, well, I reckon it's time to use some stealth checks and just get the fuck out of there.
Oh, we could just leave without the two stealth checks doing.
It would be funnier.
So, group stealth checks for people then if you want.
We can also just leave. I was mostly joking about it.
Okay. So, as you go to leave, the Aratha turns around and calls to you. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Where are my manners? Hello, welcome to our part of this humble forest. Sorry, I know that you must be bound somewhere, but allow me to assist you in some kind of manner. Where is it that you are trying to head towards?
I'll speak up and I say, heading home to the Eversplendor.
Oh, ooh, a Nazaratelli pup, is that right?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, well, it's been quite a few moons since I've seen one of them last. I think the last I saw was Brenona. Lovely lady, that one. Well, should you be wanting to get there, as I'm sure you know, you head northwest, but don't follow the river exactly. It heads east for quite a while. Once you continue a bit north, once the river turns east, continue to head northwest yourself, just so that you don't get lost. Wouldn't want you wasting so much time heading into Braxit territory or something heinous.
Oh, thank you for the knowledge. We appreciate that.
No problem. I'm most happy to lend a hand to some clearly reasonable people, and I should hope that my compatriot's confounded question bothers you not throughout the rest of your day.
I'm sure we'll be able to put it out of our minds soon.
It was fun learning about you guys. Have a lovely day.
And you too, young lady. And you watch as he turns around and you start to walk away. Those of you that like take a last glance see that he's sort of like at this point on a couple of his hind legs, bearing over the Aratha that posed the question, is sort of like kicking him with one of his legs that's up in the ground, and you hear the conversation just being repeated ad nauseum at this point.
Well, that was fun.
So where to next, guys?
I reckon
is-
west,
Is the
northwest.
northwest one or one tree or two?
They're both 2 trees.
I also
Probably
think
good.
northwest.
Yeah, northwest will be a bit more. You know where the river's going. So.
Minus 1 hour. What's the time,
Yep.
Axie?
19.
Okay.
Probably say northeast now, just to try and find river.
They told us not to really follow it.
Oh, did they? Sorry, I misheard what they actually said.
Yeah, they said that if we follow. Am I incorrect? Because Dax looked weird.
He said you can follow the river, but once it turns east, don't follow it anymore. Continue to go northwest.
Ah, okay. Misunderstood that shit. Sorry.
Okay, well, we want to find it and follow it until it turns east then.
Okay, so northeast then?
Yeah, I think so.
Minus 1 more hour.
Yeah.
Is it turning east now? Let's say. I guess just northwest then, if it's turning east.
Yeah, I think northwest.
Yeah, same. 1 hour again?
Sorry, which direction?
Northwest.
Northwest. As you've been walking throughout this area, you've still seen a couple of Arathas around, and you are still within Aratha territory.
Bless you.
Do we want to check out our point of interest? Top right?
I suppose we can. What do you think, Shift, Tony?
What's the time?
21. We have a couple more hours ahead because we did take a long break after the pixie.
Okay. I'd say let's check out the point of interest.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Minus an hour.
Mhm.
As you come into this hex, you don't see much Arathas anymore. Except for one. You see him just ahead of you. You see that it seems to be... Actually, roll perception checks for those of you that want to. Actually, you notice that this Aratha seems to be not facing you currently, but seems to be looking around a little frantically.
Guys,
Sort
I think
of-
this friend is in distress. Sorry.
Sort of almost erratic.
Don't see anything else that is causing it to be stressed.
It's mostly barren here. There's considerably less trees than there has been throughout other parts of the forest. And you actually don't see many small creatures around. Where they've been incredibly abundant everywhere else so far, the last couple miles that you've traveled, specifically into this hex, it's been considerably quieter and getting less and less so as you get closer to this Aratha.
At least we want to get close enough to spot up then.
Miss-
I'm worried he might attack us, or maybe he is distressed because of something else.
I mean, if they're smart, are you able to use your telepathic speech on them from a distance?
I could, yeah. How far away are we?
Several hundred feet at this point.
Okay.
You've got quite a decent field of view with there being considerably less trees around here. You're not sure if it's aware of your presence yet or not.
So do we go further, guys?
Yeah, I mean, we're here, might check it out, and it seems to be alone, so it won't be too big of a threat.
So are you just approaching?
Yeah.
I take it cautiously, keeping an eye out for anything else, other than a mover.
Okay. You cautiously start to approach. All of you start to notice the apparent erratic nature of this Aratha before you. And it isn't too long into your approach towards it where you see one of its tentacles sort of stick up in the air and start floating towards your direction. And then you notice as the Aratha snaps and turns around and looks directly in your direction.
Are you okay?
Does your telepathic speech have a range to it to where it needs to be initially?
It's usually 30 feet, but I was gonna just say it.
You'd have to kind of shout it basically because it's still quite far away at this point.
Is it 30 feet away?
It's still 300 feet away.
Oh, okay. Do you reckon it's a bad idea to shout here? I don't think it's the best.
Let's get a little bit closer.
Yeah, let's get closer.
The Aratha
instead
comes
if we
down on
can.
all 6 of its legs and starts barreling towards you at its maximum speed.
How fast is maximum speed?
Good question.
Is it concerningly fast, or is it really slow?
It's a 10-foot long, large-sized creature. I'd say it's got 40 feet of movement speed. It's coming at you pretty fast, and it looks like it's
Okay.
focused directly on you.
Okay, once he's 30 feet away from us, I'll cast suggestion on him and suggest that he approaches us calmly.
Do I have to roll for suggestion?
Yeah.
What kind of
I
roll is
think
it?
it's
I'm ready to cast another spell if it doesn't seem
it's
to work.
wisdom. It's wisdom saving throw.
What's your save DC?
It's 15, but if you succeed, you will have to reroll because of silvery barbs.
Okay. It's a nat 20 on the reroll, sorry.
Unfortunate. If that doesn't work, I'll just say telepathically, slow down, what's happening? Is everything alright with you? We're friends.
This thing It sounds thunderous the way it runs at you. This is a large, heavy creature, and its 6 legs
Yeah.
charging towards you. It comes within 30 feet and then stands back on its hind legs. Ah, finally. I've had naught to eat all day, and I'm famished to the bone.
Oh god.
You're all a bit bigger than I'm used to, but I'll take it.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's not very nice. And I just cast banishment on him.
Ooh, fuck, okay.
He needs to succeed a wisdom saving throw on 15.
Charisma save, but yes. There's a fail. Poof! The creature disappears, and your minute timer has started ticking.
Okay,
Let's
so
just leave.
let's get into. It's a minute. We can't leave, and he can hunt us down. Let's get in
Uh,
combat positions, up front, and all that.
A minute? You can travel pretty far in like a minute. Like
yeah, it's
Oh, I mean, okay. If
you can travel,
600 feet.
yeah, 600
Well,
feet in a minute if you sprint and use your action to dash.
Let's just get the fuck
let's go
out.
fast. Yeah, go.
All right. As you charge off, which hex are you going to be running into?
Northwest, maybe?
Yeah, I'd
Right?
say northwest.
Northwest, minus an hour. You eventually manage to just about not outrun the Aratha, but you no longer
Lose it?
hear its thunderous feet charging at you. You heard some sort of like a screech a minute after you started running, and you heard thunderous legs, and after like 20-ish seconds they faded away. You guys keep running and you make your way into the next hex.
Okay, well, it's probably going to track us by scent, so we need to work out a way of getting rid of it.
Or we can just continue moving for at least like 2
Can-
more hours.
I'm
Can
just
you prestidigitation our scent away into something different, and then we move over into the next hex?
yeah,
Yeah, I can do that.
Can I wait a minute to regain one of my slots?
Mhm.
I'll summon my spirit of death, and can you do that prestidigitation thing? And can we like put some clothing and give some clothing to a spirit of something of the scent? And I just tell it to go in the opposite direction, and it'll travel for an
Right.
hour. So it should make it to the next house.
I probably have my oath rope that I used to wear, so I just put it on. Over
Tear a
the
bit off the
spirit
bottom of the cloak and give it to the
Yeah.
spirit of death.
yeah.
As
And
it
then
stands
I-
here looming with a empty, vacant expression, waiting for its orders. What do you tell it, Andros?
I just tell it to travel as fast as it can, and I tell it to go south. So I tell it to go east. It's got a movement speed of 40 flying. It's more like a hover.
So east?
Okay.
Yeah, I tell it to go east.
Alright. The spirit of
You
death
confused
starts
him, I guess.
flying off eastwards. How long does this spirit last for again?
An hour.
Okay.
And I've cast prestidigitation on all of us.
Mm-hmm. So your smell
yeah.
has been effectively wiped.
We'll probably head northeast, head away from it, and to check on the other point of interest.
Northwest, you mean?
Oh, west, I mean, so yeah.
Yeah. Is it an
Um,
hour again?
It will be, but roll me a perception check first for those who want to.
Oh man.
I'm just not rolling well today.
I'm rolling just a second. And I'll re-roll with lucky.
Okay.
Actually, I'd hold off Bale, but 19. It's pretty good.
Oh, well, unfortunate. It's done.
You're getting close to the end of the day anyway.
Yeah, I have 3 lucky points. It's fine.
As you come into this new hex, you realize you're in new territory. The abundance of small creatures is most definitely entirely gone now. But you notice something different in its place. Where previously there was an overjoice of small fauna and little bugs here and there, there's a lot of starkly different environment. You see lots of footprints in the ground. Large, huge footprints. Almost like dinosaur in nature, in that they're like that big and with the sort of like big chunky claws coming off of them. You find several of the trees have a lot of their lower canopy branches snapped, and a lot of the trees have a lot of like pierced holes in them from where it looks like it's been rammed by something. You
Can I
also find some kind of a weapon, like a giant club, a giant spiked club. Ayla, would you like to roll your history check?
Yeah. Or guidance it.
$11. Really big, like really big, obviously really heavy. Using weapons? Something that big using even just an improvised weapon, let alone an actual weapon, it can only be one of a couple of things. And with this thing having been mentioned not just a few hours ago, well, several hours ago, this one's a bit more fresh in your mind. This seems like Braxit territory. Huge, giant creatures. Nasty. Brutish. Known for being incredibly violent and cruel.
Should we head northeast?
I also think northeast is a better idea. I think northwest is probably
Scary.
their home.
Yeah, but didn't
I-
where did the thing say Braxy territory was? Was it like more east towards where the river was?
So, the words of the Aratha, when he gave you those directions telling you to head northwest after the river turned east, he said that he wouldn't want you running into Braxit territory. Implying that Braxit territory is towards the east.
So we should go west instead.
That's not something. The west might not be like Brexit territory. It might just be on the edge of it completely.
Yeah, we could probably go to the west instead.
Which direction are the footprints going?
They're sort of all around. They roll a survival check, Baylor.
I'm going to ask a second question, which I'm hoping
Mm-hmm.
can go with the survival check as well as how old are the footprints.
Sure, I'll allow that. That's sort of part and parcel with the survival check, that's fair. And you
Well,
can give
guidance
yourself
as well.
guidance as well, yeah, it's a conscious check. Whew. Damn near about as high as you can get.
I expect to find out their pin numbers as well as part of this.
There's a couple things that you notice. This one weapon that you found definitely has been tossed towards the ground, but the ways in which some of the flora on the ground has begun to grow around it indicates that it was left here quite a while ago. of the footprints that you can see, the only reason that they're so prominent still is just how deep they are into the dirt itself. Looking at it, grass is already starting to grow in the footprints itself. It's just the monstrous size of it has created such a divot that it still looks fresh, but on further inspection, it really actually isn't. And given your check's so damn high, you notice that the footprints, as you examine the entire area around you, I'd say like 100 feet around you, and trying to look further into a distance, they do get considerably more dense in several directions: east, northeast, and northwest.
So
You get the feeling that you are very much on the corner of their territory.
We want to go west and try and avoid that.
think-
Especially as we need to camp soon as well.
Yeah, I think west and maybe set up camp there for the night.
I don't know if that close to their territory is the best idea, but yeah, definitely we should go west.
And we'll see what the territory is like when we get west. If it's like
Yeah.
completely clear, it's probably safe.
Okay, so west it is then. Minus an hour. What's the time, Platt?
24.
So with the golden light in the sky now starting to fade in place of a dark black night, will you rest and camp here, or will you push onwards a little further?
It might be worth moving one more hex west, maybe, just to steer clear of them. Well, it depends on what other things are west and could be even worse.
Yeah.
I do agree that moving one more west is probably a wise idea. We don't know
It
what's
is-
there, but there's no point of interest there at least.
Let's check out west, and if we don't like it, I think there's still time to come back to the hex we're currently in and then
Mhm.
camp.
Okay, one more west, minus one more hour. The hexes to your northwest, west, and southwest are all 3 tree tiles, and the forest gets considerably more dense.
Can we do a perception to see if there's anything threatening in those heaps or anything we need to be careful of?
Yeah, roll perception or survival. See if you can try and, because you're deliberately trying to track what kind of creatures belong here.
A roll perception. And I'll re-roll it because I have lucky points.
Baylor, do you want to use your inspiration given that it's end of the day now?
Yeah, I will inspiration reroll.
Guidance as well, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
With guidance, like, I'm happy for you to like declare it yourself, as long as you say it out loud, of course. But my general rule of thumb towards guidance is that as long as it's sort of like a planned conscious action you're making rather than a reactive one. Like if someone suddenly asks you in the moment or says something and you roll insight on that, that's you reflectively and reactively responding to that, so I wouldn't allow guidance there. But here
Yeah.
you're taking the time to look for tracks and you're like, it's something you're willingly stepping into and like, you know. So I think that's like a fair way to differentiate at least the obvious cases. So with
Yeah,
a 22, you take a very, very careful look around. There are no more Braxit tracks. In fact, there are no more tracks that you can see currently at all. The forest ahead of you in these neighboring hexes feels a little desolate. Feels empty. Which gives you a disconcerting feeling. Because you know that there's damn near not a single inch of this forest that doesn't have something in it.
Uh-oh.
How far away are we from like the tree line?
Oh, it's like a long while away. This is basically like on the horizon sort of stuff.
Okay, so where we are now seems okay. Right?
It actually seems somewhat peaceful. The dense forest in the distance that you see feels disconcerting to Baylor, but where you are currently, you do not feel any current imminent threat or anything that could become one.
Okay, well, this is a good place then.
Yeah, I think this is a good place to camp for the night.
I can take the first watch.
If we're going to set up, I'm just going to take the time as well to cast alarm over as much of the camp as I can. And it'll be an audible alarm for anyone that isn't us.
Okay. Did anyone see the Braxet in general chat, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scary.
Alright, good. Alarm.
Like, hopefully they'll be easy enough to spot if they do try and...
So you
Anyone
carefully
first watch?
cast alarm, and Anxi is taking the first watch.
Yeah.
I can take second.
Who's gonna take the last or the third one?
Zinni, you down to take third watch?
Okay.
Alrighty then. As all of you gather around a campfire and after a brief, quick cooking of your rations, you all take to your bedrolls. Save for Anxi, who sits on a nearby tumbled over tree.
Yeah.
What would you like to do with your night, Anxi?
So since I can't really see in the night, but my friends, the summons I have can, I will be using them to learn deep speech and to see through the darkness. And at the same time, there is two more things I'd like to do during my watch. First one is I'll cast Sending on Nyx.
Okay.
And the second one is I will unattune to my robe and attune again just so I can exchange tongues for see invisibility.
Okay. Alrighty then.
Can I do something retroactively?
Sure.
Can I, just before going to bed, can I cast Dark Vision on Anxi?
Oh, Baylor. He should be able to, yeah. So I
Yeah.
have dark vision.
As I'm heading to bed, I see Quincy's like beholder thing. I just say, in deep speech, I just say, like, good night, and tip my hat.
And I respond to him but telepathically. And he hears one of the phrases I've learned. Oh god, now I'm ashamed.
And I just want to say, what about my... You say, what about my family?
I was gonna say it, but now I don't wanna. But what I would have said to you is, "Hello, friend," which is one of the first things I've learned in deep speech.
Cute.
I'm a little bit confused. I'm trying to work out if it's the beholder talking to Anxi.
Yeah, I'm very good at learning stuff.
I just say, good, well, like,
So, is there anything else that you'd like to do during your watch, Anxi?
Do I? Well, Do I write down what what I've said in my sending, or do I say it? Like, what do I
Yeah,
do?
let's just say it out loud. There's no one around no one else to interrupt the RP, so just say it out loud.
Okay. So, I prepare myself for the nightly watch. Then I sit down with my beholderkin, and once I sit down, I close my eyes and I cast sending on Nyx. And he hears in his mind. Yeah, that's hello friends in deep speech. I'm learning it. How you been? Are you still in Rauhafert? Miss ya. That's all he hears.
Jay, do you want to come hop in the VC and give a response from Nyx? Oh, don't tell me he stopped listening as soon as this shit started. Oh, no, there he
He's
is.
here.
Shut up. But I do need to clarify first things first. Do they get this message?
As you cast the sending, you feel the magic leave the realms of the forest, and it does connect with your
Okay,
intended
wonderful.
target.
And then the other question I then need to ask is, do they hear the response? Because of is it outside to inside?
You do.
Okay.
Because there's been open communications from something within the forest.
Other than trying hard to shut this down or anything, I just wanted to be sure.
Right. Well, Andrews did speak with someone in Edgewood like a while back, so.
That's via his book, though. That's weird warlock stuff. Okay, well, you do get a response reasonably quickly, and I'll just try and keep into the 25 words rather than counting this. Well, that's unsettling. Okay. Emmett was trying to contact you before, just passing on Levant being grateful. They were arguing about the message. Heading south. Nice to hear from you.
He hears back with my last sending.
Okay.
I don't think you can reach me here in the forest. I think I can reach you though, which is good. Well, good luck in there. We'll contact you soon again.
I look forward to it. Yeah, it was just Levant always wants the last word. Wanted to thank for the money. Emmett figured something was, and that's probably where it cuts off.
And for the rest of the night, I'll just continue learning my silly little language.
Okay.
That's it.
I'll drop back out.
Roll me a perception check at disadvantage for yourself,
No,
and
no,
one
no.
and one regular roll for your creature.
No disadvantage.
How come?
I have dark vision.
Oh, fuck you do. Okay, yeah, never mind. Just straight roll for both you and
Actually,
your creature.
Can I just roll advantage because I have the creature with me? or
Yeah,
is it,
sure.
like,
It's
two
like
separate?
it's a summon. It's gonna alert you of anything straight away. So sure, just roll advantage.
15.
Okay. Of all the nights you've spent in the forest so far, this one is the quietest one so far. There's no nocturnal birds. There's no tiny forest floor creatures scuttering around. It's really quiet and really unsettling. About an hour and a half into your watch, there's a sudden amount of noise off to your west somewhere. And you hear, you don't see because it's too far away, but you hear a lot of birds flying up into the sky. And you hear the sort of shrills coming from their beaks. And after the flapping of their wings fades, you eventually hear nothing once more. Forest goes back to its unnervingly quiet level. And your watch comes to an end.
Before I leave, I'll cast the invisibility on. I think I can cast it on someone else, right? I'm just trying to add the spell, but I can't. I'd like to cast it on Andros if he's next.
You double check that it does work on touch.
I'm just adding it, so I hope it will show me in a second. Okay, it did that. Just a second.
Sure.
For duration, you can see creatures in. Well, it doesn't say, so I guess not.
For the duration, you can see creatures, so it's only a self spell.
Yeah, it is a self spell. Unfortunate. Well, unlucky.
Okay.
I go to bed.
You can still cast on yourself and then just have a peek around before you head off.
Yeah, I can do that definitely. I'll do it.
So just check there's ghosts about to attack us.
Roll another perception check with advantage then.
Just a second, like a retard, I closed off my character.
It's all good, don't worry. We're in no rush.
I'll reroll with my last lucky point.
Okay.
Okay.
All right
did
then.
something.
So, as you take a peek across the landscape with sea invisibility, give me a second.
Uh-oh.
Jake's still there, but just invisible.
Google something.
This isn't anyway.
Okay. As you stare out towards not only the tree line, but towards what you can see of the horizon, your dark vision doesn't go crazy far, but it's good enough.
Sorry, could you repeat?
So, as you look out towards the tree line and as far as you can see towards the horizon, your dark vision doesn't go that far, but it goes decently far. Definitely enough for keeping watch.
Wasn't it like 150 feet or something?
Sure, but it's still 3 miles
It's
into
still
the
not
next
enough.
hex over,
Okay.
so...
Cool. Well, with that, I just go to bed.
Hey, I'm not done describing shit yet, hold on.
Sorry.
You... Before you wake up, Andros, you really take a moment, now that your summon's gone, take a moment to really try and, like, focus. See what you can notice. And you really just hear absolutely nothing. And in some ways, that's more scary than had you heard something. And with that, your watch comes to a close.
Wakey, wakey, Andres.
Okay. Get
I relate to him what I've noticed and that it has been extremely quiet for some reason and it's weird. And then I go to bed.
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Can I maintain concentration while whittling something?
And what, sorry?
While whittling something.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
So I'll take my watch. I'll be whittling a bit of wood into a little jake out of wood. And also I will cast one triggers and I'll cast invisibility on myself as well while I'm on watch.
Okay. Roll me a perception check for your watch. Straight roll for you. Okay. 23 is a good roll. Outside of the small little sounds of tools scraping against wood, you become aware at some point that that's literally all you can hear. Your compatriots lightly breathing on occasion when one of them dreams something. But outside of that, the only thing you can hear is your whittling. Every other night, the forest has still been filled with noise, not loud, but like you've at least heard ambient noises all around. Here, with a check so good, you hear nothing. Your watch starts to gradually pass. There's a good amount of monotony. But you'll take monotony over whatever horrors theoretically can lurk in the night. And with that, your watch comes to an end.
Who was next?
I believe Zinni was next, but I think she was feeling a little sick, so we'll sort of, not to blitz through it, but I'll roll for her. Zinni wakes up. It's a bit of a wrestle to get her to wake up, similar to how Cedric has had to deal with in previous nights, where he's previously just picked her up and placed her on a seat. You sort of sit there yanking at her shoulder for a bit until she begrudgingly finally gets up. But she does and begins to take her watch. Let's roll for Zinni. Perception. Normal roll. A 12. Zinni also hears absolutely nothing throughout the night. Many hours pass into her shift, and the golden light starts to streak into the sky to indicate that morning's on its way. It's a slow but gradual process. About 2 to 3 hours into her shift, she starts to hear bird calls and other signs of life coming to the forest, but only from her east and southeast does she hear these calls. And eventually all your watches come to an end. Please press the long rest buttons on your sheet.
As we wake up, I just make a point of asking Baylor, is that area of the forest being completely silent more?
And I don't know. I don't know the forest that well to tell you that this part of the forest is normal for it to be quiet.
Is it worthwhile us checking it out then?
Possibly.
I mean, if it is something if it's something that's normal, then it's fine, and we'll just travel through it. If it isn't normal, then the druid will know about it. I'm just thinking back to the whole spider being like infected with something. We fought it before, way back when. Could be something similar.
It could be. I'd say we probably shouldn't spend too much time worrying about it. More, let's see if we see something while we're moving through this part of the forest.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm
Just
thinking
keep our
head
eyes open.
west one tile, then start heading north again, and just see what we see.
Yeah.
Everyone happy with heading into the...
Maitland, would you
into the
like
southern forest?
to roll a history check?
Yeah.
It's a
yes, I will.
high check, this one, because you don't currently have that much to go off of.
I will guidance it. I don't think the guidance will make much difference.
It will not. There's a lot of creatures that use audible tricks or play on the audible perceptions of creatures. Too many for you to determine what may live here. So, which hex are you traveling to? Also, Anxie, what's the time?
7. Wait, no. 6.
6, okay.
I think we should go northwest.
Is northwest creepy forest as well?
Yes, northwest, west, and southwest are all 3-tree tile dense forest.
Okay, so northwest then.
Alright, northwest. This is minus 3 hours.
-2, isn't it?
No, 3 trees is 4 hours. And so you minus 1
Right,
hour.
right.
Tile to your west is 3 trees. The tiles to your both to your north are 2 trees.
Anything odd about this time?
Roll me a d20. The tree line's very dense here. Sometimes it's so dense that you see roots overlapping between trees, and it makes it quite difficult to traverse through. Even with Baylor guiding your way and finding an easier path, it's still a difficult path. Easier than if you had been traveling without him, but still, the sheer density of the forest and the lack of much light from overhead canopy being so dense makes it quite difficult to keep a positive attitude while traveling through here. Each of you roll me a perception check, please. Andros, while you usually take up the rear of the group, you pick up on something. It wasn't obvious, it wasn't loud, it was quiet, it was subtle. like something trying to mask its presence. You're being watched.
I tell everyone that we're being watched. Am I able to tell which direction or anything like that?
You're taking up the rear guard. It was somewhere to the south-southwest.
Right, if I look in that direction, do I see anything that shows?
You do not.
I kind of poke Anxie, trying to get her to talk to me telepathically.
You hear that?
I just say there's something in that direction. Can you cast see invisibility? See if you see anything.
I cast
We've
the
been watched.
invisibility, and I watch towards that direction.
Roll another perception check, Anxie, as you're making a much more deliberate check now for something specific.
Wouldn't it be like an advantage? Because I know where to look, and because I have the invisibility.
It would not.
Unlucky. It stinks, so I'm gonna use lucky.
Okay.
Not very lucky
Right.
today.
Look at it. 9, 6, 3. What the fuck? At least I'm consistent.
You look towards where your rear guard was pointing. It's a dense forest. There's a lot of stuff around. Everything in this forest, or this part of the forest, is incredibly still. Even with sea invisibility up, you could be looking right at something but not know that it's something.
Oh, that's kind of stealthy.
Whilst you don't see something, you also become paranoid and aware that you're being watched.
We think there's some charm effects going on or something.
You hear in your head. So I don't really see anything, but I am feeling creeped out. Something might be watching us.
Okay, if I'm staying as rear guard, I'm going to summon my spirit of death and have it watch with me.
Okay.
I don't know if it matters or not, but it's immune to charmed, frightened, and all that stuff.
Can you ping the Spirit of Death in chat for me, just so I can just read over some of the intricacies of it?
The ability itself or its stats?
The ability. Okay. Out of curiosity, Andres, what? A spirit that embodies death. What does that mean to you? What does this thing look like?
Trying to think how we've spoken. Imagine. So it's basically imagine it's like a skeleton draped in tattered clothing that looks like it's like a sailor who's been lost at sea sort of thing. You know, easiest thing to think of as an example is take a movie with Jack Sparrow.
Oh, like the skeleton crew.
Yeah, let's improve that sort of thing.
That's fucking sick, man. I like that. Okay.
But it sort of floats a bit in like misty black and such.
Okay.
And if we are carrying on, then I have that basically just pushing behind us, floating backwards as he goes. As we go.
All right. Let me have a look at something. Oh, sorry. Oh. More Googling. Okay. Which direction are you guys heading, by the way? Just as a sort of like passively just to be aware. Like which hex are you aiming to travel to at the moment?
Is the hex to our northeast the same sort of forest? Or is it different?
Both northeast and northwest are two tree tiles and do not seem to be part of the forest you currently find yourself embedded within. Or section of the forest.
There is that point of interest.
Yeah, you check that out, so it's kind of direction we want to go anyway.
Okay, so you're heading that direction. You're traveling at a bit of a slower pace, unfortunately. It's not great, but you're doing the best you can. Balor keeping an eagle eye out, trying to focus on the path ahead, while steadily more and more of you become paranoid of what may be lurking behind you. At some point, Balor, you're taken immediately by surprise as you see, not just 10 feet in front of you, walking around a tree and towards you, a giant, hulking owlbear, stalking and walking slowly towards you.
Has it noticed us?
Oh yeah. It's like 10 feet from you as soon as you notice it. And it's like as you're turning around a tree, it's turning around the same tree sort of thing.
I mean, would we not have spotted an owlbear there before this point?
Guys, owlbear ahead. And he's definitely seen us.
The owlbear starts to snarl at you.
Can you speak to it?
Yeah, I will cast Speak with Animals. Burning a spell slot is not going to ritually cast. And as calmly as possible, I'll put up one hand in sort of like a gesturing wave and just say, "Hello, friend."
The owlbear rears back onto its hind legs and waddles forward a little. It looks down towards you, and its face turns into a horrid scowl. Paolo, what's your passive insight?
Passive insight. 14.
And your passive perception?
17.
Though the situation at hand seems to be immediately descending into chaos, there's something not quite right that you pick up on in the moment. This owlbear is making no sound. I don't mean like it's not growling at you. Literally nothing about it is making a single sound. Its footsteps aren't making sounds. Its snarl and growls, even the way it reared back on its hind legs. It's silent.
Possibly some illusion.
I will scratch my foot in the dirt on the ground and see if I can hear that.
You do. You hear your own breath, you hear the scratch of your foot, you hear the gasps of your teammates behind you. But everything about this owlbear as it's now 5 feet from you, as it waddles on its hind legs, flexing its giant stature over you, not a single sound is made from it.
I think we should back away a bit.
Yeah,
And we'll
try
back away.
banishing it if you want.
No, I think there's something wrong here. And maybe we can help.
Can we detect magic, good and evil, or dispel it even? Anything?
While this is going on, can I look behind us and see if we're still being watched?
Andros, in this moment, you look behind you. Though the tree line is dense, and there isn't much light that comes down from here, you see some light being emitted from 2 points about 10 feet off the ground, pointing in the direction of the owlbear. As you've turned around and taken notice of it at this point, you hear a low and guttural growl coming from its direction.
How far away are those points of light?
10 feet.
Any objection to the Eldritch blasting both of those?
Make a decision quick.
Yeah, I just don't want to do anything to the owlbear.
Yeah, I Eldritch blast and both of those points 17 and 20.
Go ahead and roll damage on both of those.
I've got a problem to do that for some reason.
Yeah, the damage button isn't there. That's weird.
Yeah, I'm just gonna press it again to see if there's some damage. No.
Yeah, damage doesn't show up. That's weird.
Okay, I'll look at it manually.
It's like, what, D8 plus something? That's weird. What's going on?
It's weird. It's 1d10 by default, but it's 1d10 plus my charisma mod. So first one it's plus 7. I think was it
Plus charisma mod. That's going to be plus 4,
one
right?
sec, I'm just need to check how
No, it-
Agonizing Blast works.
Shouldn't it be?
You can add your charisma modifier to the spell's damage rolls. So is that plus 4 then?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
An 8 and a 10.
8 damage and then 10 damage.
As both of these eldritch blasts fire off at these 2 points of light, you watch as they both get impacted, and the shocking bits of light that come off of your eldritch blast reveal something. Both of these points seem to have been somewhat horned and spiked, and as soon as they hit, they both recoil and start shrinking back down. They seem to be attached to something, and as you watch, they slowly recoil back down to the ground. You see 2 eyes staring at you, and that immediately pounce on you. And that is where we will bring the session to a close.
Oh, we're so gonna roll initiative.
Yes, at the start of the next session, you will be rolling initiative.
Hey, at least I already have my Spirit of Death, so it saves me a turn.
We have a week to think of what creature we just hit, basically. Wait, was that a 2-hour session?
Whatever it was, I'm not prepared for this combat, so it'll have to stop regardless.
Right.
I was wondering if it's that beetle thing called up to us.
No, it shouldn't be.
I think,
Or could it be? Hmm.
I mean, it said they hunt their prey. But that said, it wouldn't explain why this area is silent.